welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and today I am doing something different for the first time. I think I did allude to this in another video. So what we're doing is we're reviewing for the first time. I'm doing a review, and I'm reviewing Young, Famous, and African Season 2. And right now that's just something I've been wanting to do. Well, I want to watch, number one, I want to watch the show because I've been super excited and super hyped for this season 2 to happen. If you are interested in me reviewing season 1, if you want me to review the first season, I definitely can do that so you can kind of have a better idea of these cast of characters. Before I do that, let me just kind of give you a brief recap because it kind of does introduce when we start on the episode. An episode that is season 2, episode 1. It's called Awkward Reunions. So this is kind of picking up a little bit where things left off. Only difference is now, I'm not sure how much time has passed at this point watching, but it just does appear that things are picking up where they left off, and they're bringing the gang back together. And the person who's bringing the gang back together, it's an African artist by the name of Diamond Platinum. And so he's on a private jet on his way back to South Africa because, by the way, the show location for the most part is in South Africa. But all the different characters who came together as friends, because some of them are friends and some of them are acquaintances and some are no longer friends, as we'll see all that, of course, unfold on the show. Real quick, I'm just giving you a brief synopsis of the show so that, you know, if you do decide that you want me to review season 1, I can, but at least if whatever I tell you at the beginning, you can at least pick up where you left off and go back if you want. It's up to you. But anyway, all the artists or all the people that are on the show, they're all African. And some of them are from, South Africa, and others are from different areas that have come together to be in South Africa for business purposes and also for friendship purposes, for many reasons. Everyone is there for a different reason because it's different cast characters. So it starts off with Diamond Platinum. He actually is from, I believe he's from Tanzania. But he's in South Africa a lot with business, and also he's a major recording artist in Africa. Very, very well known on the continent, and so his money's long, at least from an African standpoint. And so again, it starts off the episode where he is basically on the private plane heading back to South Africa, and then he reaches out. I'm not sure if he called DJ Naked or DJ Naked contacted him. Now, those who are housewife aficionados, I believe DJ Naked's ex-wife actually is part of the Real Housewives of Johannesburg, for those who are international with it. I haven't had a chance to watch any of the international housewives other than Dubai. Haven't had a chance to watch any of the international housewives other than Dubai. But anyway, so he's been on TV before, for those who are familiar with him, but he's a DJ in the area, and basically Diamond holds him to task to bring the gang back together. So he's inviting anyone and he's basically inviting the whole entire cast back. This is their way of, basically, those who are familiar with reality TV, you always have like a cast meetup or something that brings the cast together. And so Diamond wants to throw a party but he wants basically Naked's help of getting everyone back together because Naked's the only one who's basically still in South Africa and didn't really leave. So, and he's kind of like the person who gets along with everyone the most, and that's light, saying it kind of lightly. So between him and his girlfriend. So DJ Naked, and also too, I'm probably not gonna say DJ Naked constantly. I'll probably just call him Naked because by short they call him Naked, but also his name is Quentin. So if I say Quentin, DJ Naked, Naked, all the same person. Got it? Got it. Okay, so he's basically calling people. He's calling Canty. I believe that's how you say her name. I will put her name in the description because it's like, again, all these people are real people, but they're all African. So some of them have traditional African names, and the enunciation, it's a thing. So anyway, Canty, he contacts her to kind of bring the people back together. They're like basically argue like siblings, but they're really, really close and really, really tight, but they fight like siblings. Oil and water. So he contacts her, I believe, and his girlfriend, and I didn't catch her name. I'll put it there. I forgot her name. She contacts some other people too. So between Naked and his girlfriend, they're calling everyone, bringing them back together. But they're calling everyone, including some people where there's been some unresolved issues with, of course, because it wouldn't be a reality TV show everyone got along, right? Right. So basically, once they kind of do that whole entire scene at the beginning, it does then end. The next scene is going to be basically Canty and Naked meeting up together, giving each other a warm embrace. She even describes it because she's kind of the one who a lot of times narrates the show. But I am noticing already very quickly on this first episode, everyone's kind of going to be taking turns doing that this time around. Because Naked narrates the show a lot and had even season 1, same thing with Canty. And Canty's kind of like the queen bee. So Canty, she's basically an African socialite, but how she has her money is questionable. It's questionable. I mean, we'll just call a thing a thing. And she has said it herself. And she is just kind of that girl. So, and this is, pretty much how she kind of describes herself too. And so from there, we have them basically getting each other caught up. Naked and her talking, because she just came back. So I guess within that time lapse that they've had from season 1 to season 2, she basically, I guess, spent the whole summer in Dubai with her man. She's dating someone who's kind of younger than her, I believe. And he's controversial because he has money, but no one knows where he gets his money from, and she don't care. Because she's like, money. So anyway, he's still in Dubai, her man, and I forget his name. He's not really a main character on the series, though. He appears in and out, so he's really not really in the mess most times. She's, one of the main characters, of course, and she's just like getting caught up and like telling, like Naked, like, hey, and Nick is like, hey, yeah, Diamond wants to bring everyone back together. So basically, Nick is telling her in person that this is what Diamond wants to do, and she's like, okay, let's do this. And so then they pull off in a nice ass car, of course, because that's just how it is, in a very, very nice car. And they're getting caught up. So she's Canty, being the sister she is, is asking like Naked, like, hey, how's your relationship going? Are things better? Because first season, Naked and his girlfriend were having their whole plot last season was Naked and his girlfriend were just having relationship issues. They could not get on the same page. And also the intimacy was lacking. And he basically saying, no, the intimacy is happening now. It's a thing now. It's definitely a thing, and they're doing better. So that's kind of what is being said there. And so that's all that is there. And so basically they caught up, and that's all this for that. And then so basically, oh, and let me get the girlfriend's name so that I quit calling her that. So I'm gonna just let you know what that is, and then we'll go on to the next scene. So I got the girlfriend's name because I want to give you a little bit of backstory on her. Her name is Caitlin. It's not spelled, it's spelled differently, and I think I'll put people's names. Same description as I'm talking about them. She is a footballer, aka soccer player. So she has her own money too, and that's one thing I do love about this show. Everyone has their own money, and everyone is just doing well. It's basically a show on fabulosity at the highest level and Black excellence. Now she is a mixed race, which you can't tell up front, but we find out in first season that she is mixed race. So she's I'm not sure what other ethnicity she is, but she is half Black or half African, Black African. I think she might also be half Dutch because South Africa. Because I think she is also from South Africa. I will basically try to give a better backstory as this story progresses, because we haven't gotten to the scene with her yet, but I just wanted to give you a story on who Naked's girlfriend is, because she is an important part of one of the stories on the show, because a lot of their story is their relationship. So I wanted to kind of give you background on that. So that's pretty much it for that. So in the next scene, we get caught back up with Zari. Also, she calls herself the boss bitch. And that's just what she calls herself. So don't demonetize me. Don't demonetize me. That's what she calls herself. I'm saying what she says. But she's basically, she is Diamond's baby's mom. So they have 2 kids together. And so where they leave off at with that is she's basically talking about how they still have a decent co-parenting situation, but they're no longer together. And even one, they weren't really together. It basically, season 1, it kind of was navigating how does that work, because they do clearly have still somewhat of a chemistry there. And a lot of it was some playful back and forth first season on what was going on with that. And also too, Zari really only knows Diamond, and then she knows Conti. And then everyone else in the group she didn't really know like that. So she kind of was essentially treated like the new girl, even though she really wasn't the new girl, because a lot of people are just getting together for the first time. And some of these people don't really know each other like that. And she was kind of one of the main protagonists. She was kind of one of the main people who got into it with people in last season. But anyway, and I just kind of want to give you a backstory who she is. So she is right now at a clothing store of some sort, some high fashion store in South Africa, and she's closed out the store. And she has her own money too. I don't remember exactly what she did to get her money first season, but she didn't come with nothing. Let's just put it that way. She has money too. I think she actually got money from a divorce. Hey, it is what it is. Money's money, right? Anyway. So she is closing. So the store that they're at, a high fashion store, they closed it down for her and Swanky. Swanky is the character or real person. I hate that I keep calling these people characters. These are all real people. But Swanky is the one from the first season that made me love this show. That was the dude. He was amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing. He is a fashion designer. And actually some of his like gowns and like fashion wear has been worn by all kinds of celebrities, like not just African celebrities, actual celebrities. Like he's that dude. I think some of his dresses have featured on the Real Housewife reunions. So yeah, he's that dude. But anyway, he's a high fashion designer. He's actually originally Nigerian and he's relocated to South Africa. And the thing that's interesting is that this next scene is starting off with them two, and they were not seeing eye to eye last season at all. But apparently the update has happened that now she's hired him as basically to be her designer to help, with the outfits and all. So I guess it went from like a working relationship to now they're actually kind of cool now. And that happens at times. You work with someone, especially when you're in the fashion world, you're probably getting to know them very personally and getting to know what's going on with them. So Swanky being the divo he is fashionably late, so everyone's waiting for him, but he shows up and he's wearing the best because he's just always giving fashion. That's him. He is, if you're someone who likes fashion and loves high fashion and likes things that are different, outside the box, things that personally you probably wouldn't be comfortable wearing yourself, this is a dude to pay attention to. He's just extra for no reason, and I love it. 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 And black as hell. Love it. And excellent and just fabulous and just, he's giving everything. And to give you an idea, I think already just watching this, he's already given 3 different looks, like fashion looks. He's just gone with the wind fabulous in the words of Kenya Moore. But anyway, so they're catching up and he's being nosy because what Zara had going on, she was in a lot of mess last season, a lot. And one of the things was, it actually ended in a cliffhanger. Season 1 was that her baby daddy, Diamond, was at her house, because he's going to be there because they co-parent and stuff. And so he was there, he got home from his tour earlier than like he thought. And so he came and came to watch a kid. So no problem, right? That was planned, all good. Because what happened last season where things left off at, I'm kind of giving you a little bit of an Easter egg what happened last season towards the end, because it does matter, because again, this is like them catching us up. So there was a wedding that happened at the end of last season. Now I might be going into what the wedding was. It was a wedding renewal. It wasn't actually a wedding. Wedding was a wedding renewal that happened last season. And everyone went but Zara. And the reason why, and then also Diamond didn't go either, but Diamond didn't go because he was already gone. He was like touring. So he didn't go because of touring purposes, because he was on the road. And, but Zara, because of her being in all the drama last season, she got uninvited. So she wasn't there because she got uninvited, basically. And so she was there with the kids, no big deal. It was nothing. And Andale, this guy named Andale, who's also a main character in the show, him and Diamond are good friends, right? Well, Zara and Andale were kind of in this weird, almost entanglement situation. They were feeling each other, but it was really awkward and weird because this is your best friend's baby mama. I mean, lack of a better term. And so he was at the wedding and just decides he was going to leave early to pop up unannounced at her place. So he did that. Unbeknownst to him, he didn't know Diamond was there. And so Diamond answers the door. And he was there for Zara, not for Diamond. And it's really awkward. And basically, so Swanky's like, so what's going on with that? That's pretty much where it ended. Because that's Andale confessed to Diamond that I wasn't here for you. I didn't know you were going to be here. I was here for her. And so it was like, and then the episode ended. Season 1 ended. So you can see why I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? I want more. So anyway, she's basically explaining to him what happened, because Swanky's like, so are you and Diamond good? She's like, yeah, we're good. We're co-parenting well. And then she's like, so you on the way? Y'all still a thing? And apparently they haven't talked since that night. And the thing is, the way she's talking about in the confession, because you don't know this season 1, but she confesses, like in her confessional today, that she was falling for Andale. She was falling for him. The game was running. The game was working. Like, he was running game on her, and she was falling for the game. And yeah. So, and then it kind of circles back, and then they kind of explain how they're now friends now in their own confessionals. Zara explains in her confessional how her and Swanky are now cool, because those who've watched the first season, as I mentioned just a little bit ago, it's awkward seeing them two together, because you're like, wait a minute, because they did not really get along like that, them two. So it was like, okay, interesting. And so basically Swanky invited her to an event that, a fashion event in Nigeria. And I think one of them was actually the premiere of Young, Famous, and African, because this is still an African-based show. So it premiered in Africa before it premieres here in the States, clearly, right? And so they went to the premiere and all that for that. And one thing that she noticed was she hasn't seen Annie, which is Swanky's best friend, anywhere lately. And then this is where she's asking, are you two good? What's going on with you two? Which is part of the reason why her and Swanky didn't get along. Zara and Swanky didn't get along because of Annie, because Annie was not really fooling with her. But right now, we learn that Swanky ain't really talking to Annie like that right now. And they were ace boon coons. Like, they were introduced to the show as being best friends. They both moved from Nigeria together. And Annie, she's an actress. And I will say this, Annie was the only one who I really knew on this show before, or knew of kind of before. Before the show even started, because her name isn't really a known name, but she's been in movies, mainstream movies, not like your Tubi movie. She's been in regular movies. I think she actually was recently in the movie here, the Christmas movie or whatever. I think she was in that movie. But when you see her face, you know who she is. It's like, oh my gosh, she's a pretty well-known actress. And but she's Nigerian and lives in South Africa currently. And she went there to kind of get a fresh start and also work on her career and things like that nature. And we'll get more into what's going on with her. But right now, where we're at on the show is that Swanky is saying them two are not close right now. He doesn't know what's going on with her. And the only thing he said is that she betrayed him, but he won't say what the betrayal was. So that's where we leave off at, is that something went down, and clearly we're going to find out. But something went down. That's where we're at with this so far. So, yeah. So speaking of Annie, the next scene, we see Annie, and she's looking like she's put on some weight, but like the weight looks good on you, girl. It looks good on you. The boobs are boobing, they're sitting. She's looking beautiful and gorgeous, and she's looking beautiful and gorgeous. And so she meets up with Kanti, and I think I mentioned this before. Kanti, just like DJ Naked, them two are kind of the two main narrators of the show, and then Zara kind of narrates too. Everyone kind of takes turns doing it, but them two are the ones that bring people together, like especially because like they are the most established in South Africa, like, and they live there, like, and they've been there forever. So she's meeting up with Annie, getting caught up, and the wedding renewal that I mentioned that Zara was not invited to was actually Annie and her husband, Two-Face, also named Innocent. He is this huge international African superstar. I think he might be known in other places around the world, just not here in the States like that, because you know how we are with the United States. Like, it's just a thing. But anyway, so that's how their story ended last season. They had a wedding renewal. And apparently Annie's like kind of just venting to Kanti about how she like wasn't happy that people were basically criticizing Auntie by sticking beside her man. Like, I'm going to stick beside him because he has a lot of controversy around him. He's had outside babies, outside the marriage. He's already had a lot of kids before the marriage, and also there's an age difference. So he's not on the show. They don't portray him as like a great guy, like at all. He's portrayed as kind of just nasty, you know? Now, when he is on the show, because he is occasionally on the show, he comes off really, really nice and all that, but yeah, I don't know. Because one of the things that actually, so one of the main reasons why Zara and Annie butted heads was because of the fact that Zara already knew Innocent. And so I think there was some jealousy and insecurity there, and Zara would call it out. And they basically just didn't get along from then on. And Zara's a little spicy and she has a mouth on her. So whether she probably could have said things better, but after that, they just basically were never on a good note. So then Kanti asked the elephant in the room, "Where's Swanky? You flew here by yourself? What's that about?" And one Easter egg that Kanti also presented in her confessional that we didn't know, they live in the same neighborhood, like in Nigeria. So Annie mentioned in her reply, like, I haven't seen him. Which, if you live in the same neighborhood, does that really make sense? Exactly. And Annie wouldn't explain why. She basically was like, yeah, I haven't seen him. That's all she said. And she said that like Swanky's not talking to her, but she's not explaining why. And she's saying the only reason, and to Kanti that is. And Kanti's like, this is not adding up. So Kanti is like kind of still having the poker face on, talking to Annie, but also just paying attention to a lot of things that Annie's saying. So number one, she's criticizing how people are all up in her business about the marriage because it doesn't appear perfect. And she's like, if you are so worried about it appearing perfect, is it really perfect? That was one of the things that she said in the confessional, because that has been like the whole entire storyline with Annie. Well, not story, but like that's her story of all last season, and we're going to see it continue on because more has developed since then in between the filming of season 1 and this, and I'm sure it's going to get addressed, but I don't want to spoil that I want you guys to watch it with me. Because I also, when I watch shows, and this is just a sidebar, I'll get back on the episode, but a sidebar for me, when I watch shows, I try, even though I might know information, I try to pretend I don't know the information, because social media, a lot of stuff gets out on shows before it actually films. Basically spoilers, if you will. But I try to act like I don't know that the spoilers exist, because I don't want to know these things, right? Right. So anyway, back to this. So also the other thing, Conti's like looking at her kind of sideways. It's like, why are you and Swanky not talking? That doesn't make any sense. Because what I think I mentioned just a little bit ago, Swanky is kind of like the fun-loving fashionista of the show. He's usually the one that keeps it cool and keeps his peace. So it's one of those things where if Swanky doesn't mess with you, something happened, and it was probably something Annie did. At least that's where my mind is going so far. We'll see, because we don't, there's only been one season, so we don't know if maybe it might be miscommunication. We don't know. But from like what Swanky said, he sells the ultimate portrayal. But sometimes he's a little dramatic. He's a little extra. But she's saying, so Annie in her confessional says, but doesn't say to Conti, is that the only thing she could think of is that all the controversy surrounding my brand was messing up his brand. She basically made it really, really superficial. So yeah, more to come with that. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say. There has to be more to come with that, because I'm just kind of like looking at like, because Annie is, I will say this, from first season, she's really sensitive, but she's also very overly straightforward and blunt. But the accountability of all that, okay, so in the next scene, we see, and my apologies, I actually had to change my mic. So in the next scene, we see Andale. And I think I mentioned about him before. He's meeting up with Nakia. And Nakia. And basically the premise of their conversation, how they started the conversations, they're talking about the invite to the party, that Diamond's party. And Andre immediately mentions that he felt a way that he got a secondhand invitation, even though things left off the way they left off, which I found kind of strange. I found that strange. But and I think I did mention it earlier on. Andale is the best friend who decides he's going to entertain his best friend's baby mom. That he knows that his best friend was still kind of have feelings for. Even though his best friend's the one who messed up that whole entire relationship because he was cheating. Yeah. So, and, but anyway, so he was talking about that, but he finds out through talking to Nakia that everyone basically got that kind of an invite. So it really wasn't anything for him to say that. And Diamond probably did that in order to not be messy, because quiet as kept, Andale, if you haven't already noticed, he's kind of messy, but he plays it off as being a gentleman. He calls himself, even leading up to him meeting up with Nakia, he is a gentleman in training, which I will admit, at the very beginning when I was watching the show, I was like, ooh, I might like him, because he does exude sophistication and a gentleman. He really does. But he has his dirt and he's messy. Perfect reality TV person, right? Personality. And anyway, what Gondole does for a living, though, he's actually a TV personality. And I believe he's a TV personality, not in South Africa, in another country within Africa. I can't remember which one it was, but that's his backstory. And and also what connects him to the group is Naked or Quentin, same person again. Quentin, DJ Naked. Got it. Okay, so so he's friends with them three, or was, because we all know where things are with him and Diamond. And then Nakia, the person that he's meeting up with, is a hip hop artist, and one of the younger cast members of this show. And I will say this, she's an African hip hop artist, trying to break and try to be mainstream. And she doesn't really rap. It's not, she's not really doing Afrobeat. She's doing hip hop, American hip hop music, basically, but in Africa. And her storyline, and I'll say this, she's probably the least known as far as character development, because she really wasn't on the show that much last season at all. Half of last season she was on vacation or gone, more than even Diamond was. Diamond, we know more of his story than we know of Nakia. And also too, I think out of everyone, she probably is not as established financially, where everyone else is giving opulence and that kind of thing. And don't get it twisted, everyone there is new money, because if you know the history, you know. But she's really new money, brand new money. So there's levels, kind of one of those. But anyway, last season, and I do question really how authentic she is on this show, because last season her storyline, or what her whole thing was, she was trying to be, trying to break mainstream, which it didn't really focus on that nearly enough, because I would think if you're going to be a reality TV show, you need to promote your business, especially if you're someone who's self-employed and trying to grind. The focus last season was her relationship with Bink Missa. So, and if that name sounds familiar, Chicago artist Bink Missa, because they were dating on the show, but yet he never made really an appearance. And it kind of, and this might be me being a little bit judgmental, it gave storyline. It did not give that the relationship was real. It gave PR. Now, I don't want to be offensive, and hopefully, I hope that's not true, but I don't know. Everyone, she's kind of the one that seems like she's not really giving herself for real. It seems like more of a facade. So, and okay, the reason why I say this is I'm someone who watches a lot of reality TV. I've been watching reality TV since The Real World. And I mean the first one. I love me some reality TV. It's just a thing. I don't know why, but I love it. So I'm mentioning this because she kind of is giving Carly Red from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Those who watch that would understand what I mean. Carly Red, every season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, always has a new man. And it's always someone who's high profile. And it's almost to the point where it's not always believable. Because it's dude, you're dating this person now. Now you're dating this person. Now you're dating this person. I think sometimes it's organic with her, and a lot of times it's not, but because it's her, you don't know. And I'm hoping she's not this way. I'm hoping that's not the same thing Nakia's giving all the way. But again, she mentioned she's in another relationship, another high profile relationship, is with this guy named AKA, and he's a rapper. I don't know who that is exactly. I knew who Bink Missa was because he's Chicago and he's fine as hell. And I love his music. So I knew who that was. And also too, he's part African. So he's on the continent fairly regularly. And if you know his story, you know why. But anyway, so it's just weird because that's what she prefaced her thing, what's going on with her about. And then she says, like, I'm really, really happy. And then Andale, being messy and kind of nosy, he's like, so why do you feel like you need to say that? Like, kind of just like trying to get more from her. Because again, she is one of those people where it seems like you have to do that in order to get anything from her, but she still gives you nothing. So we'll see if she's going to be on the show more often or not. But one thing that was mentioned is that whoever she's dating, aka this guy she's dating right now, there's some controversy with that because she was really good friends with his now ex-girlfriend or whatever. And they're not friends anymore. And people are trying to figure out, is it because you're dating him or what? And the person they're talking about hasn't been quite revealed yet, but she, in the preview, because it actually kind of previewed the season a little bit before the show started, she's going to be a new cast member. So I don't know much about who this other girl is, but we're going to find out who she is real quick. And I think that might be where some of the drama comes in at on this show. So that's where we're at now. So still in the same scene, the elephant in the room was finally established where Nakia, she's like, so where'd you go after the wedding? Because I don't think it was known all the way yet what happened, because, you know, she, again, really wasn't there much on this, like, last season, even though she's a main character. But basically, he was like, I went to Zari. I went to see Zari. And he's given this look of, like, I don't understand why that's a problem. And this is my whole thing with Andale. He's messy, but it's like he tries so hard to pretend that he doesn't understand why this is an issue. He's one of those messy people where it's like, logic would tell you this doesn't make sense. Logic would tell you this is not a good idea. And she even said that. She was like, I told you not to do that. And so there's controversy with that. And he's like, and then she's like, so did you get his blessing? That was like her question. Like, did you get Diamond's blessing to date his baby mom? He's like, I don't need to get her his blessing. I'm a grown man. She's a grown woman, yada, yada, yada. And it's like he's totally missing the fact that you're trying to date your best friend's baby mom. It's like Andale does not know what bro code is. And I'm pretty sure bro code exists internet. I think that's an international thing. I don't think that's an American thing. I think every culture has some form of bro code, and he's like, I don't know what the problem is. Like it's funny because he almost looks offended that she's even asking this. But that's how that scene ends. It's like, oh my gosh. But I'm telling you right now, so far, this is getting good. It's getting good already. Just the catch up. It's making me miss the show. So anyway.
Coordination between.
So, okay. Finally, Diamond is hitting the scene. He's finally back in South Africa, which is the main reason why everyone's coming together, right? And he's meeting up with Quentin. And Quentin's basically like saying, hey, this is the house that we're going to have the gathering at. I put this together. It's going to be here. Kind of just giving him the lowdown of like, this is where things are going to be at. And also, as I mentioned, Naked and like Kanti, them two are like the two, main people who bring people together. So he's introducing his artist, because he has an artist apparently. So besides being, he's a DJ, so that makes sense, right? A South African artist by the name of Fanti. And Fanti he's introducing Fanti to Diamond as a love interest, potentially, like someone for him to get to know better. And I did see in the preview she was going to be one of the newer cast members of this show. So he's giving the lowdown of who this person is. I kind of want to wait until she actually comes to the scene, because then she'll say what she got going on. He's saying a little bit because this is artist, but I think she'll kind of explain a little bit more. But that's where we're at right now. And this scene is like he's trying to like say, hey, I got someone for you, bro. Child. So finally, the conversation of who all's invited to this Ponderosa, if you will. Shout out to Jackie from Basketball Wives. Because, okay, those who are not as into reality TV, you already know when there's a gathering, some mess is going to happen. So it's a Ponderosa. Anyway, Naked finally told like Diamond, I invited everyone, and Diamond was like, I hope you didn't invite Andale. And he's like, yeah, I did invite him. And so finally, now we finally get Diamond's thoughts on the whole situation, because that's where at the end of last season it left off, where it was happening, but you didn't know how Diamond felt about any of it. So he finally did explain. He's like, I was confided, and I kind of knew that this was going to be the answer, because, I mean, hello? I don't know what kind of planet Andale's on when it comes to, like, etiquette of friendship, but child, with friends like that, you don't need an enemy. But, like, Diamond was clearly going to his boys, which were, you know, Naked and Andale, trying to bring the family back together. He actually was high-key trying to get back with Zara. You know, trying to get back together with her. And all behind his back, he's trying to like come into the family. That's literally what he said. Verbatim, pretty much. Almost verbatim. And so he basically said, I don't know what this man wants from me. Does he want us to be enemies? Because we can be. So there's definitely some issues with that. So I can see things going left when they do finally have this gathering. Because one thing that Andale has, he has all the audacity. So he's going to show up and like not think he did anything wrong. Because he still doesn't think he did anything wrong currently. So yeah, it's getting good. It's getting spicy. So I forgot to mention a tidbit, which was kind of funny. And I don't know why, but okay, so another scene just occurred. So in this scene is actually Zari and I apologize. It's either Zara or Zari. I feel like I've heard her name being mentioned both ways. But anyway, Zari speaking with Diamond. And because, I mean, they still are cordial because that's like, you know, they have a family. And she was like, so first she's asking who's all at the party, who's all coming to the party. And he's like, everyone's invited. Everyone's invited minus Andale. And which I found funny because it's like, I think he did that on purpose. And this is another thing that I forgot to mention. Zari and Diamond, they seem to play games with each other very regularly, like in kind of not in a good way, clearly. It's like they do stuff to try to make each other jealous, even though they're not together and haven't been together for like a minute. So basically once Diamond said that, because we know he's coming to the party because Naked invited him. So he's coming and Diamond knows that, right? So, and he didn't uninvite him. He didn't do that. He just told Zari that he wasn't invited, but he's going to be there. And her response, instead of being like, she was like, oh, so there's some jealousy there? Why he ain't there? Because she already confesses she has feelings for the dude and was catching feelings. And so she kind of like checked Diamond's like, so why wasn't he invited? And he's like, he just wasn't invited. And then Zari's like, well, you're busy flirting with Nadia. So why does that matter? Or Nakia, Nadia, Nakia. I'll get the names right. I promise you, I will get these names right by like the second or third episode. So he was like basically like saying she basically in response like, "Well, you referring to Nakia?" And I totally forgot about that. That whole entire time, which was nuts, was Diamond was upset and wanted his family back together, but he was still entertaining Nakia at the exact same time. And it's funny that Andale and Nakia were the two that were meeting up, getting caught up when they basically were in the web of their entanglement. It was like a 4-way entanglement happening. But nothing really overly transpired. Like there was no pound town or anything that we know of. We might find out though. But that was what was the last thing was mentioned, and I just forgot about that detail. So, but so what's happening right now with this scene, I think I forgot to mention, is it's starting off with them two there because the party is happening. This is the start of the party. So them two are showing up, and now we're going to see the next people who are showing up. So we finally see Caitlin, and Caitlin's actually the next two people to show up at the party is Nadia and Caitlin, but they showed up together. And Caitlin's like saying like, "Hey, no, me and Quentin were good," because they argued a lot last season and their relationship was rocky. It was kind of rocky. But she was like, "No, we're going to keep it that way. I'm just showing up, kind of as a support." But probably because the producers told them to do it that way. I'm just saying, probably what happened there. But Nadia basically said like, "Hey, I don't have any issues with Zari unless she starts something." And that's another thing I will say about Nadia. And you can tell, out of all the characters, she's probably, out of all the people, she's probably someone who I gravitate the least towards. Because for one, I kind of think Caitlin should be more featured in this than she is, because she gives more of her life than she does. And then for two, the way she handles conflict is really immature for her age. Because I feel like everyone in this cast, they're in their 30s or late 20s or something like that. But the way she handles herself is just like, it ain't it. It just isn't. Like, she lets Zari get under her skin easily, almost too easily. And that's why Zari would kind of mess with her intentionally, because she knew like she could get to her. But yeah, anyway. So next, so they do show up and they talk. So far, nothing has happened badly yet, quite. The mess has started. You can tell the mess is going to happen though. So what happened is that, as I mentioned, Caitlin and Nadia, they show up. And Nadia and Zari, they're keeping it cute. They're asking like, "How's your new man? How's your new man?" Basically saying no beef, no beef, no beef. They don't say it, but it's kind of like they're trying to like alleviate the awkwardness, because it's already awkward as F. Like, it is awkward as fuck. It's so awkward. It's crazy. And so to break the ice, or really to get the party started, and when I mean the party, the drama party started, Caitlin asks Diamond, "Is Andale coming?" And Diamond is in his feelings, and it's just he cannot hide that he don't see it for this man. He's like, "Why would you ask me that?" That was his reaction. "Why would you ask me that?" And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know." Because Diamond knows that she knows what happened, because that's Naked's girl. And, they probably pillow talked and talked about it. So, like, they know. The group knows what happens. Like, I'm sure they've all watched the show. They know. So this is funny. It's like she did that on purpose. So she's like, I didn't know what it was like. I didn't know if it was serious or not. I didn't know. So then after that, they kind of just cut off the bat. And the next to arrive is Annie with Conti. Again, I'm finding this interesting that Annie's interesting to me. And that's another thing about this show. All the people who are on the show are very interesting. But this is interesting. A lot of people on this show, Nakia, she's one of them, and then also Annie, they're very emotionally mature. And so she shows up with Conti, and then right away she brings this energy of like, why am I here? Why am I here? And I'm just like, then if you don't really want to be there, then why are you there? And she's like, I don't like half these people. But it's just like, and then Conti's like, because Annie immediately got in the house, was going to go the opposite direction where everyone was at. To nobody. By herself. I think she thought Conti was going to come with her. She's like, oh, no. We're coming this way. Where everyone's at. And she's like, but I don't even like half these people. That's the energy she's already giving. And like Conti's like, but you have people there that you do like. You could just talk to them. So immediately they're at the table. They're all about to eat. It looks like, it appears. And but before they get to the table, they all like, greet each other. And Conti, I guess, don't really see it for Zari anymore because of what happened. But they kept it cute and did like a little church hug. So at least they gave a church hug to be cordial. And Annie just acted like she didn't exist. And then Zari was like, okay, I'm just going to give you the energy you're giving me. I'm going to act like you don't exist. And then when they go to sit down, Annie is wanting to sit as far away from Zari as possible. It's like, dude, it's just seats. You could sit next to someone you don't like and it'd be fine. You're an adult, right? Okay. So everyone was just like, why don't you just sit next to her? And she's like, and she just, it was just she was being extra and just wouldn't do it. So already we're seeing this is already getting crazy. And not everyone's even there yet. So Schwanky finally shows up and child, the shade. Annie thought she was doing what she was doing was shady. Swanky's like, I'm not going to be outdone when it comes to me letting everyone know I don't mess with you. And he did it in a way that was just... the way I honestly would do in real life. So he shows up and everyone knows that the energy is off because the thing is, and I think I mentioned before, Swanky was the guy that was a lighthearted guy that brought positive, awesome energy into the room, and it ain't that when he shows up. And Annie is still just being weird. But like, I think what we're seeing already is that what made Annie bearable was Swanky. And without them being the dynamic duo, I don't know how much of her I'm going to be able to take, to be honest. We'll see, but I'm already seeing that this is going to be a rough season, especially for them two. Really more for Annie. I think Annie's just going to go through it this season. Like, it's going to be... she went through it last season, but a lot of it... we're going to see that some of what she's going through is her own doing. And it was like that last season, but I think last season we were able to give her some grace. I don't know if we're going to see that grace for her this time around because she don't have like the ace boon coon of Swanky to help her out. Yeah. So he alludes as he's coming to the party before he goes in there that he is not excited to see her. He doesn't want to see her. Which is really, I'm still wanting to know what happened, and we're going to find out, but I'm like, what happened? But anyway, so he shows up, he says hi and gives a hug to everyone, and then when he gets to her, he skirts and goes back and has his seat. And everyone was just like, including me. I wish I would have given you, I wish I would have been recording when I saw that, because I was like, oh, hold up now. That was your ace boon coon. Yikes. So basically Nadia was about to spill the beans and like say what's good, which that's good in real life, kind of, but kind of not. There's a time and place. So Conti right away was like, oh, isn't there a nice fireplace over here? Okay, Nadia, let's go over there. Let's go over there, to basically stop her from doing that. Because one thing about Conti, which is why she's like she literally is the queen bee of this group, to keep it real. Like, she says it, but it's actually true. She holds that group together. And she also is someone who's really great for like reality TV, to be like, whoop, we don't do that yet. And also real life wise, you want a friend like that who stops you from just like opening a can of worms right then and there. Cause like the part, like no one's even there yet. Not everyone is there yet. We're still waiting on Quentin and Andale. And Andale, I'm almost positive he's going to be the last one to show up. Or if he does show up, he's probably going to show up with Quentin, because that would make the most sense. Because again, keep in mind, Diamond, the host, don't really want him there. And Zari thinks he's not coming. Okay, I have to call this out. I was going to wait, but child, the audacity. And again, Annie, she's going to be exhausting this season, I could tell, because she is a professional victim. So she felt the way that Swanky did what he did and just kind of like curved her. But yet she did not notice, she didn't see that her behavior was messed up, what she did to Zari. Even though, yeah, she isn't really cool with Zari, don't mess with Zari like that. That is the host baby mama that you disrespected in the place. There's levels, right? It's when it comes to her, it's like the hypocrisy for me at times with her. It's like, you can't play the villain and victim at the same time, girl. Like, don't call out BS when you're on the BS too. But the difference is Swanky did better than you did. Just saying. So Child, Naked, and Andale finally showed up. And I guess they both just got off work from their radio shows, because they both have radio shows. Because, I mean, again, Naked's a DJ, so that makes sense. He has a radio show. And I told you that Andale is a TV personality, but probably also radio personality, right? So they're both dressed. Also, you know, one thing that I didn't say at the beginning, Swanky's not the only one giving fashion. His fashion's extra. Everyone in this cast is giving fashion and greatness. And one thing I will say is better from this season than last season, the wigs are a lot better. Because child, the wigs were not it. They finally got the wigs. The wigs are way better. So far I've been seeing some, I'm like, okay, you leveled up on those wigs, because those wigs were giving. I'm like, child, for you guys to have the kind of money you have, you gotta do better with the wigs. Like, you can't be wearing a wig that I could be wearing. It needs to be better. I'm just saying, it needs to be better, right? And yeah, I know my hair is not looking the best right now, but you know, I do this for a good time, long time. So this is not staying that much longer. It's probably gonna be in here for like one more week and then it's gone. But anyway, so they show up and Andale immediately is like, I want to know where Diamond and I stand. Because again, if one thing that Andale has, he has the audacity. He's not comprehending that this dude probably don't like you anymore. Because what you did was mad disrespectful. He's still not catching this. It's like the awareness is lacking. And it's funny too, looking back, when I first watched this show, and this is without spilling the tea, I thought actually Andale and Annie were going to end up being together, because they both black, they both beautiful. Like, I mean, the skin is skinning together. And also too, it's funny that I thought that, but them two awareness is the same. They don't have it. Lack of awareness is like nuts. And I'm like, maybe that's why I thought that they were going to be together, because it's like they lack sensitivity training unless it's about them. And also they are just the audacity. And both of them have some hypocrisy with them. But like, it's blatantly obvious hypocrisy. Like, I'm not going to say that, you know, we all are hypocrites. But like, when it's that obvious, it's like, child, I'm confused. But anyway, So Quentin shows up to seeing that the energy is messed up. It's all the way messed up. Because at this point, you have Conti, Annie, and Nadia together. And that's where Andale went with them at like in the one wing of the mansion, because they're in a mansion. And then the rest of them are at the table still. And also, before that happened, Caitlin, I'm gonna love her this season. She is trying to get the party started. She's like the co-captain to Naked's captain. So like Nick is trying to be the reasonable one who's trying to bring everyone together. And Caitlin is trying to address the elephants in the room, but in a healthy manner. And then Nadia's just messy and just wants to know the tea. She don't really care about these people like that. Which is why Conti took her to the side, because she already saw it happening. She's like, nope, no, we're not doing it that way. But anyway, so when Andale was there and showed up, Caitlin's like, yeah, Diamond's excited to see you. Knowing he ain't excited to see him. It's like the polar opposite. But she said it with a straight look, and Andale's like, I'm not ready to talk to him yet. And for me, again, it's the audacity. You're the one who did this. You should be the one who's man enough to come and talk to him. What? So, but now that Quentin's there, he's like, hey, no, we're not having this. Let's join everyone else. So they leave the table to go join everyone else. And we're about to see what happens. And I'm trying to see what's going to happen. There is 14 minutes left this show, and I'm curious. So, the showdown finally happened. So Andale and Diamond, they gave each other like, the bro handshake. But it was clearly off. It was more like a church hug. When you do this and pull up and you hug. It was a church hug. And very short and very like, okay, get away from me type thing to get out the way. And then when he gets to Zari, they hold each other for a long, long time. And her smile was smiling. And his smile was smiling. And then they start kind of flirting with each other right in front of Diamond. And Diamond's like, what in the hell? He didn't say it out loud, but in the confessionals, he's saying his like, POV, like, what is this? And yeah, things are about to get addressed right now. So Swanky makes an announcement where he introduced someone else who's new to this cast. Her name is Bantan. Muntabe, and I'll put her name here in the description. She is apparently like this major TV personality who's just really, really known throughout South Africa, just a boss like everyone else on this cast is. And I think she's one that has issues with Nadia, so. So things get spicier. So I mentioned before that this girl, I thought this girl was like the ex-friend of Nadia, and it is. And so immediately Conti sees this lady coming and she escorts. She straight up right away gets up, and they look like Destiny's Child. They just, all three of them just escorted and moved on to outside. So they moved. So what I mean by the three, it was Nadia, Conti, and Annie. Because Annie wasn't gonna just stay there, period, because she only messes with them three really. And so they just immediately just went that way as this lady's coming in. And Conti is now upset with Swanky because she's like, you're friends with Nadia, but you didn't tell her that you're inviting this lady here, because there's already conflict there. So now there's more conflict on top of conflict on top of conflict on top of conflict. This season is going to be good. It's probably going to be exhausting though, but it's going to be good. I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit more lighthearted like it was season 1, and we don't get all this the whole entire season, because it's going to be exhausting otherwise. But child. So Conti eats her eggs this and states that she is not really friends with this chick, which is also why that's why she just escorted her friends out of there. But she says she knows her because industry. They're all in the same, they're all entertainers with money. They're all in the same crowds. The crowds there are clearly small. And the connection there is that a lot of people already know each other. So like Naked knows this lady. Apparently she is like a pioneer in the game of like TV personalities and things like that. She's like the pioneer. So they're trying to get like her basically. And yeah, a lot going on already. And it looks like Annie and her are like, conversing, so they know each other too, clearly. But yeah. So Annie goes and says hi to her, and Swanky takes her seat. And yeah, things are already look like they're going to implode with even them too. And he acts like he doesn't hear her. Because when I tell you, Swanky is paying Annie dust, and it is killing her, it's insane. I still need to know what happened, but in the mess up way, and see, I'm not evolved yet. I'm trying to be a better person. This is how I handle conflict too, a lot. If I'm really over you, you don't exist to me anymore. And this is literally what Swanky's doing. And it's crazy. But I'm actually seeing it done on TV. I'm just like, oh, girl, you gotta do better. You can't be like that. But I'm like that too. And he is giving her nothing. She's asking for an inch, and he is like, nah. Even though he took her seat. And I don't know if he took the seat to be shady or he just act like she don't exist. I'm not sure which one it was. It might be a little bit both, but sorry, you're probably like wondering, you have switched 5 times your view of things. I know. My phone was dying, so I had to charge it for a little bit. But okay, we were at the end. So what happened? So after that, Phantasma, she showed up, right? I think that's her name. And she's new. She's the one that I mentioned that like Quentin is trying to hook Diamond up with, right? And so basically she actually is American, and but she's part Ghanaian, and she's a dance hall. She does dance hall. And she lives in South Africa now, of course. But like she's a Ghanaian she's an artist from, like, she does stuff in Ghana because she's partly Ghanaian. And but she's originally from the United States. So she's one of the few people that's actually originally from the United States. And so far, her wig though, honey, we need to upgrade your wig. It ain't giving what needs to be gave. Everyone else wigs were on point except for hers. She's part of the, and okay, I'm about to go on the soapbox a little bit. I know it has nothing to do with nothing, but I cannot stand it. And I repeat, I cannot stand it. When the baby hairs be baby hairing all the way to here, she's doing that. It's a little much, but also too, it kind of matches her personality. Because she didn't hold her tongue to save her life. So basically, she shows up, and she's still showing up in the middle of everything that just happened. So like Annie just left, right? And then Andale, because they're kind of ace boon coonish, or they kind of, and also too, they have similar personalities, Annie and Andale. Andale doesn't like the energy of the room either, so he's next to go. And as he's leaving, Diamond is giving him these backhanded compliments that are not compliments at all, and Andale is seeing through it. He's like, I'm gone. I'm not doing this. I'm out of here. And then Phantasma just blurts out. She's like, is that your girl? Like, are y'all together? like asking Zara, are they together, Andale and Zara? And she's like, no, but Diamond answers real quick, yes, they're together. Just being shady boots. And immediately, like, Swanky's like, oh my gosh, do less. So she's basically doing the same thing that Nadia would do, but there's no one to stop her from doing this. So she's just asking all the people's questions. And she's like, wait a minute. So, and then to be more spiteful and petty, Diamond calls out like, well, no, Zara calls out like, well, you were dating Nadia. And then it's known that the TV personality is the ex-boyfriend of her current boyfriend. And so Phantasma was like, this is messy as hell. Why are y'all in this like 5-way love triangle? She's like, this is messy. Not acknowledging the fact that her calling it out is equally as messy. It's all messy. You calling it out is just as messy as it being a thing. You know, everyone else was just like, you know, sipping their tea and keeping it cute and keeping it to themselves. And so she's wanting to ask more questions. And then, basically Andale leaves, and then Phantasma goes right to like, Swanky's like, so what's going on with you and Annie? And then he's just like, I'm not going to go there. He is basically making it a point like, I'm not going to talk about her until I talk to her first. Like, even though even though he feels betrayed and everything else, which tells me everything I need to know, I feel like she did something really messed up for real. And he still is being above it all for the most part, other than paying her dust when she was there and not airing her out. Because whatever she did, it was so bad that like, I don't think none of them will mess with her anymore, I guess, if like they were to find out. And he's like, I'm not going to air her out until, he's like, I'm trying to pay my respects to her. And then Phantasma's like, well, wait, is she dead? Is it a funeral? And she's just still just being too much. And it's like, girl, you literally just got here and you're doing the most. And also while this is happening, Caitlyn is upset with, is mad at Naked because he invited this girl and didn't tell her that was happening. And which is telling me that their relationship is they still have some kinks to work out. Because that was part of the issue that they had before. They had a little bit of jealousy going on, but it was more like Caitlyn had issues with it. Because Naked, I will say this, he's obliviously misogynist at times. He's not trying to be, he just kind of does stuff like that, but not intentionally. He doesn't think things through at times when it comes to his relationships. When it comes to everything else, he's pretty logical except for that, which is kind of weird. But anyway, but that's kind of common. A lot of men are like that, right? So, yeah. So that's what's happening there. So she's upset in the background. And then Swanky eventually has enough and then he leaves. And then that is the end of the episode. Child. This season's gonna be good. It's going to be good. It's gonna be good. So let me know what you thought of this. This is, again, my first time reviewing a show. I usually review yoga, clearly, because I usually do the Get Fit With Me series, and I usually do the makeup stuff. But I figure I will try something different, and honestly, this is like the show I've been looking forward to. And I'm someone who doesn't watch a lot of TV, so I know other than like Real Housewives. And that is a new development. I didn't even do that pre-pandemic. I really am someone who doesn't watch a lot of TV. But Young, Rich, and African, I was waiting. I've been waiting for the new season to pop off. And now that it's here, I'm going to go episode by episode. All the episodes are there, but I am going to go episode by episode because, again, I'm someone who doesn't really watch TV, so episode by episode makes more sense for me in my life. And but anyway, if you get anything out of this content, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and I will see you next time. Bye.